Welcome everyone to another episode of Wildlife Photo Chat Video Edition. I'm here with Brad as always. We got a great week for you here, and we're mixing things up a little bit. So as you can see, we got some really fun photos to go over. Brad went out and shot some terns again, this time in a little bit of a different location, a little bit more coastal, having some fun with backlight. I had my last outings with the Puffins before we left them, so we're going to show some of those. And then we're going to end the episode with a topic that is the opposite of last week's topic. So last week we talked about low key, getting that black background. And this week we're going to go ahead and talk about high key, or getting a white background. So shooting in snow, fog, cloudy conditions. And then bonus at the end, so make sure you stay till the end, guys. We're going to start a new thing that we're going to do every week. And it's going to be the Wildlife Photo Chat Video Challenge, basically. And so what that means is this week's topic is we're talking about high-key stuff. So we're going to challenge you guys to go out and photograph high-key stuff. Use the hashtag Wildlife Photo Chat Challenge. And then next week, before the episode, Brad and I are each going to pick one to share on the show. So you might get a chance to get featured on here. So that'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
And so we'll tell you a little bit more about all that at the end. So other than that, let's kick it off how we always do. How's it going, Brad?
Good, man. It's like I said to you before I got on here, it's been a week.
Yeah.
It's like I don't even remember all my own name. Yeah, just been really
life
busy
stuff?
And life stuff and getting out and shooting now too. And, you know, like it's funny. I think I've come to realize now once I'm getting to the latter part of July, I've become like an evening shooter now. So that's different for me. It's like I've always been looking at morning weather. Now I'm looking at evening sunsets. And yeah, so but it's nice because again, like, you know, it just opens up that opportunity where I'm by the coastline. I can look out my window. If sunset's going to look incredible, then it's time to head out.
Well, and is it also there's kind of the seasonally, dude, there's just less to shoot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like this transition that's happening now, right? Like songbirds are done. You know, there's ducks around here all the time, but I don't generally focus on them now because like we're getting our shorebirds and stuff coming back. You know, and terns are around, so I always have fun with those. So there's, you know, it's that kind of like there's not a ton, but you know, it works out for where I am living now that I'm able to kind of go over and just like 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes, like a 10-minute walk, I guess, but like a 2-minute drive to a location to basically,
Gotcha. Sorry, I just noticed you guys are saying this in the corner of the window here, but it's my Dropbox is going, so I'm like, let me stop that so we actually get good Zoom internet here. Yeah, so
there you go.
That should solve that.
Definitely.
Yeah, you know what? It's so funny, dude. Like we left the coastal Puffins here, and I was thinking back on. Well, and I've been talking to some mentorship students, and I was thinking back on when I lived in New Jersey, and it's like, I feel so bad for anybody that's not coastal. Like if you are not coastal, this time of year is just the doldrums, man. It's so rough. I'm like, what do you have going on? All the forest birds have like finished with their young, and they're either gone or they're just super hidden and secretive. Plus, it's gross to be out there. It's hot, like. Again, dude, you're like
so many flies.
You're lucky. Yeah, that too, right? Horrible insects, but
don't say lucky,
dude. I don't care, man. Like compared to ever, if you look at temperatures, mainland Canada, U.S., it's awful. Yeah. Like it's so freaking nice here. Even when it's hot here, it's so freaking nice here. Yeah. But on top of that, I just remember I remember at least where I lived in New Jersey, I could get coastal. And that was huge, dude. That was huge. I could get to shorebirds, and like there was still the end of nesting of like. I mean, all the way into end of August, maybe I had black skimmer chicks that I could go work with, right? Yep. And by then, shorebird migration's kicking in, and so it was like,
true.
Without that, like, what do you do? There's just you don't want to be out there. It's so gross, and there's nothing to shoot when you do try. No. It's tough.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I feel for
and
you
the
all.
Worst thing is too. Right. And the thing is too, they're coming off like this high of like shooting warblers, probably shooting like morning, evening, just crazy.
Baby birds.
And it just goes almost like to a stop, right? Yeah. That's frustrating for sure. And I guess here too, like, you know, I'm fortunate. I don't get a chance to go as much as I would like because it's a little bit of a drive for me. But like, you know, with seabirds, like it's great time right now. So that's a little added bonus for us as well, right? With
that's what I mean, right?
And gannets and all that.
You can take a drive and get somewhere, but like, those that don't have access to that or where it's required, where you have to fly or maybe you
Exactly.
don't have time. Like it's tough,
Yeah,
man.
it's
And
tough.
there's obviously there's places like you look on social media, right? And you see people that are out like shooting bears in Alaska right now. It's like it's like peak season
Yep.
for that, right? And then what we
Yep.
all just did, it's just like seabird season. You see that, and then like
Right.
if you're stuck just like inland somewhere, I really do feel for you. Like that's not an easy thing
Yeah,
to
for
get
sure.
through.
Yeah,
Time to
I
hit that
agree.
back catalog.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, exactly. Right. Get caught up in editing. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
but-
So I did have a couple little decent outings. Actually, it was nice because I mentioned it in the last episode where I was going to go to Ternsville. That ended up being basically a dud and didn't really get out as much as I want, and weather and but yeah, it was nice to get home. So this was, gosh, I can't remember what the date was. It was just a couple evenings ago.
Okay.
And everything was looking like lining up right. And like I said, again, it was just such a great advantage that I can literally look out and I'm like, okay, last hour before sunset and let's head out. And I kind of realized like date wise, it was getting very close to when like the ruddy turnstones and stuff were kind of coming up from last year. And I had great success with them last year.
Nice.
So I'm kind of hoping to play around with them again. So that's what got me down to this location. So unfortunately that evening there was none. There was like greater yellowlegs and a few other species around, but so I went out on this point, and it's actually the same point that during the winter I was kind of playing around with the common mergansers, like flying around the point.
Oh yeah. I remember you talking about that. Yep.
So it's the same,
Nice.
So same location. So at this point now they're kind of like feeding their young and just kind of hovering out around that section.
Nice.
So like basically ended up getting locked in with them, and just like the sunset was really, really nice. The last bit of light, it kind of dwindled out.
That's
there was
a
just
bummer
this
when that
band
happens.
it is, because especially when it's looking really, really good and the light's getting better and better, and then it was just like, just kind of like died out after a little bit. So it was fun. I got some like really different mixes of clouds, different conditions, got them with fish going through. Like it was like really one of those really, really nice evenings where almost no matter what, except for on the bottom, because that was where this band of a cloud kind of was. You were getting no real texture or anything in the background, but here, like the water worked really, really well.
for sure.
And like I said, to get the fish, there was one other. So the other one that you see with the water and the sparkle, dude, like just in classic form. I mean, this thing came right over that bokeh, like super, super
That's
nice.
when it missed focus.
Of course, wings all like, no, it was like wings were all like in the wrong position. It just like, it just looked horrible. But I think it still works. The placement, I think, is still nice. And, just to see those actual waves really, really well. And I like that he was kind of up in that. I wish he was a little higher, maybe in that super clear instead of touching
Gotcha.
Like that little bit of a hill in the background. But I don't know, it was still a decent shot. So
what do you think of with stuff like
with
this? What do you think of like the texture of the water is like bold and strong and heavy? Do you like that?
Yep.
Do you think that balances out nicely? How do you feel about that?
I guess for me, I like it. Like if it's gonna be anything, I want it to be that bold.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I want it to be like more like showing that it was windy or kind of like rough water. If it was like almost calm, but like these little kind of ripples, like it just doesn't like look nice. It's almost like if it's going to be bad, like lean into it kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think with it gives more that like sparkly and through.
Totally.
That kind of gives you a wider area of that sparkle as well.
Yeah.
So I think it works.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was asking. Yeah, I was curious because
Yep.
I just wanted to hear if you were like for it or if it was like you're just like I could see the Brad James in you being like, it's not my favorite,
Being
but I
picky.
got to deal with it,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also wanted to ask, like obviously all silhouettes here. Any thought to shoot anything else, or is it just doesn't really fit, right?
So there were points when the light was getting like down really nice and really low, and occasionally the turn would come around the back of me. And it was kind of nice. Like it was given that like really nice like dark clouds in the background, and then the bird was kind of getting lit up. But every time I would try, or I did get some shots, it ended up just being like just a blue, like I wasn't getting any cloud textures. Like the spot they kept hitting was always just like, if there was more texture to it, I think I would have liked it. The other, so this will lead into why I went back the following evening. But anyways, while I was sitting there, there was a young one that kept landing behind me on a rock. And I was like, oh, I'm like, and the parent would come in and feed every once in a while. I did get some okay shots. They weren't that great. My biggest mistake was that when I went out to check the point for the ruddy turnstones, I was planning to walk out, check it. If the ruddies were there, go back, get my chest waders on, because for that, I kind of got to get in the water to kind of get right angles. And so, of course, when I got out, got locked in on the turns, ruddies weren't there. And when this young came in and landed, decently close, of course, I only had my, like, boots on, right? Rubber boots. Yeah. So I was like, there's no way I could get in the water. Gotcha. There wasn't enough time to go back. I could tell the light was going to fade. So anyways, that's why, so I did go back the following evening, because the other shot that I was hoping for, as my plan, if I had the chest waders on, was to wade out very wide, kind of come in around another rock, and I probably could have lined up the chick that was sitting on the rock with like bokeh balls in the background and get some like silhouette of like the interaction or whatever. Yeah. Of course that didn't happen because nature is nature. And like they were, some of the turns were there last night, but they weren't acting the same way. Winds were a little bit different and such. So it kind of threw them off. Yeah. It does. Yeah.
I know. I definitely want to get to that yellow legs that we have coming up that you shot. The other thing I want to point out here is it's just so funny, man. So classically, like you and I, what we love to do, even with flight shots, we still won't push our shutter speed. Like you're doing turns in flight at 12/50th of a second. I was shooting Puffins in flight. I just finished like editing, and this is a big thing I did this week, but I'll talk more about it later. But I just finished editing this behind the scenes video shooting the Puffins. I'm shooting Puffins in flight at 800th of a second, 1000th of a second, and they're all sharp. I'm like, I guess I just can't comprehend. Well, I shouldn't say that. I think it's because we're not shooting any of these like frame fillers, right? Like if we were frame filling them,
and that's what it is, and
they were really close and then zipping by, I think you would need to get up into that 2000, 2500th of a second shutter speed. But like for this stuff, definitely, like, you gotta turn diving right here at 12/50th of a second, and like check it out, folks. Like it can't get any sharper than that. You know what I mean? Like, no. What more do you need, right? And it's just so funny to me because I'm like, whenever you ask anybody about shutter speeds with flight, like nobody would say like, go 1250, 1000th of a second with like these birds, no less, And you and I are just
zipping around. Like
no problem.
Yep. Oh, definitely. Yeah, and I think you made like you said, you made the perfect point. Is that in my head, it's small and frame stuff. Like they weren't rarely coming close. I was at 400, which is still, decent amount of range, but I knew it was very rare that they'd come really, really close. I didn't want them close anyways. I wanted them out over the water and kind of giving me that, more like of like a silhouette and give me textures in the clouds and the habitat. So I wasn't really focused on going crazy with the shutter speed. But I agree, dude. At one point, because I was shooting a couple of the turns that were just sitting on rocks and playing with it. So I think I went down to like 1/500th of a second.
Oh, really?
And then I turned, just started shooting flight shots, and like, dude, when I looked down, I'm like, oh yeah, these are sharp too. Like, because if you catch them just gliding along and you're panning with them, like they're gonna be sharp. Yeah. Like if there was some erratic movement, no, I wouldn't have. I would have missed. But
that's another thing too that I think is interesting, right? It's like, I don't know, not all, but most birds in flight shot is like you're tracking the thing. So it's
you're
not
going with them.
Actually move, like you watch a bird, like you watch a turn like this fly through that sky, like it's cruising right there, but you're going with it. Like that's kind of what you have to do to stay with it, right? So the times that it makes sense is like if a bird is like, I guess, coming towards you and then it banks all of a sudden, or it's doing like crazy wing movements and stuff like that, then again, I can see the need or desire for the really high shutter speeds. And I'm not trying to convince anybody watching right now that you should be shooting slower. You have to shoot slower. I just want to say you can in certain circumstances, right? And then the other thing I'm kind of noticing, like as I look through these, dude, which they're all really beautiful, and I really think it's neat the variety you got here. of just like one set, like it's one sky, but there's diversity here.
Yep.
But what I really want to say is like, yeah, these don't make sense as a close-up shot. Like, what is that going to be? Just like a close frame filling thing. It's just like, all right, it's the shape, but like then it's just a solid color back there. There's no context at all about what's happening.
Nope.
You know what I mean? And so it's like,
Well,
it's just it'd be a bunch of different like cutout bird shapes is basically what it would be if you were shooting these like frame-ish filling. And so it just doesn't make sense.
Because, I mean, if you even went in, I mean, I'm at 175, so you go in at 400. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're losing all those beautiful...
Totally.
To me, again, it's like
that
just
already.
another great example of...
Yeah,
right? Like, I think for me, it's like, it's another great example of, you know, when you've got beautiful sky like this, or you got beautiful coastlines like we do with the Puffins and stuff, like... You want to show that. It goes beyond the bird then. It has nothing to do with the subject, and it's the environment. It's, you know, like anytime I go out or I'm thinking about doing this, I'm rarely thinking about, I want a frame-filling portrait of a tern and showing feather detail and all this. Like, it has nothing. I'm looking out going, wow, that sky is going to explode. Look at all the textures. And I want interesting clouds. Like, I've gone out and I'm like, I know the sunset's going to be beautiful, but there's like spotty cloud. Like, it's not a dense thing. Like, there's no beautiful context to it. So I'm like, I'm not going to go out. So, you know, for me, it's all about that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Great set, man.
Yeah, it worked out.
And then you got yellow legs here.
So, so I went back the following evening. And I was in my mindset of like, okay, I want to try to get the turn, feeding, backlit, bokeh balls, or just kind of that whole interaction. Yeah. And got to the area that I parked, started heading out, and looked down at this one area that like is like a little beachy sand area. It's like an estuary that runs out. And the Ruddies were there. So I was like,
really?
Ooh, I'm like, what do I do? Yeah, so I was like, ooh, what do I do?
What the hell happened, Brad? Where are the shots? I can't wait to hear.
Right? So I'll fill you in. So anyway, so I there was plenty of light left. So I'm like, okay, so what am I going to do? So I ended up going one way and realized, I'm like, why am I going to shoot these front lit the way I was coming? I'm like, I wonder if I can loop way out around, get in the water, get in the oceans, I had chest waders on, wade out, and then work my way back in that I could get the sun that was coming over just the ridge before it dipped down. So there's like a little bit of a ridge that you kind of lose the sun after a little while.
And you wanted to have the sun in the frame, or at least use some of the light.
Yeah, because I was thinking... I just want to use some bokeh, like, you know, just something to kind of give a little bit more of an interest to the image.
Nice.
So waded in. They seemed fine. They were kind of like preening, and this one got in the water and was bathing. I was at 400, so I'm like, slowly move in. This greater yellow legs was like sat there, and he was chill. Like usually at this spot, they're not that chill. So this guy just stayed. So I was like sitting in the water, probably like as I sat, it was up to my waist basically. So I'm like on my knees and like knee crawling over like those kind of rocks that you see there,
that's
and
fun.
like seaweed and stuff, and just positioning this guy. At first I hated that rock was in the background, but I don't know, it kind of gives a little bit of
it balances.
It's like too black, too dark, whatever, but I think it worked out. So the turns were to the left of that rock. So they were just like, you know, like if I had 600 maybe or something like that, or a little bit more, I think I might have been able to work something. And just as I kind of got in a little bit closer, like they seemed perfectly fine. They were like just chilling, preening or whatever. And all of a sudden, bang, they just went to wing. Yeah. Like I think something either came over, flew by, something sparked something out of them, because it certainly was me. I was there for 15, 20 minutes, just slowly working my way. And I had plenty of time with the light. And I'm like, I'm just going to let them get used to me and see if they'll actually come closer. Nah, I had tons of time.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it just sat there in the water. And unfortunately it took off. So then one flew and went out to the point. So I'm like, yes, okay, perfect. I go all the way out there. I wade in the water far, far back, like up to my waist in water, wading out. Got almost to where I was like, I think I'm going to be good. Because the idea then was like, clouds are moving in, but I was getting some nice color, like some really nice textures. And I'm like, I'm just going to go small in frame. If he gets up on a higher rock, because there are like bigger rocks there, like, oh yeah, like half the size of a car kind of rock. Like if he gets up high, then I can kind of do something cool, small in frame with nice, nice clouds. And of course, as soon as I got out almost at distance, we took off for whatever reason. I was like, wow. Yeah. But then I should have included some. But anyways, I played around with like a spotted sandpiper family, and there was a couple I had compositions I had lined up, but it just would not turn its head into a profile view. It just kept straight, and it was just like this blob. But I was doing small and frame stuff with the rock shapes, and it just didn't turn out. That's but I was happy with the gray Riel lag shot. It was something a little bit different than what I've got before. I don't know if it's too messy. What are your thoughts?
Here's what I was gonna say. When I first saw, all I've seen it is as the thumbnail. Right, I haven't really like taken time to look at it, and as a thumbnail, I'm like, I'm really surprised at Brad. Like that doesn't seem like a photo he would like share or be happy with, right? But I gotta say, viewing it like this, I love it. Like this is one that works bigger. It needs size, I think, for it to like. Now the bird stands out fine. I actually really get to enjoy like all the different sizes of the bokeh balls and everything like that.
That's what I like.
Yeah, it like has like a hierarchy to it that kind of works its way back. So I think that's kind of neat. But as like a thumbnail or even just smaller, like when I had it like, if I just like gridded up with like a bunch of other photos like that, I'm just like, now it does feel messy. Like, so this is one of those photos that like I think is based on the size, if it's gonna work or not, and I do think it does, on the large size on its own, but that's like, it's like full screen almost on a 27-inch screen here. And then I'm like, I'm like, oh yeah, there's something to this. I see why he shot it and why he picked it now. But it was funny. Like when you first sent it, I'm like, I totally.
And the funny thing is, it's probably not, besides this channel, it probably won't see the light of day for me. It's again one of those images. It's the same thing for me. It's like in small in screen. I know if I post it on Instagram, it just doesn't stand out.
I agree.
But when you look at it big, I'm the same thing as you. All the little bokeh balls, the different shapes, the different sizes. Like it does work in that sense. But yeah, as a small version, it's I don't think it works.
It's I think that's going to be one of the fun things about the show is like showing that. And I kind of have just realized too, like I think I'll try to remember going forward for some of these episodes of even including some of the stuff that like didn't work out or wasn't quite there, just so we can like show some of the difference there. Like you're talking about like with the Terns, that turn earlier. If I go back here, you were talking about when he was flying. Where was it? This guy here in front of the. Oops, wrong way. This one where he was lined up over the bokeh, but the wing position was like meh. So I think there's something to be said to share that, to show people
definitely.
And I,
why?
Well, why and like just how picky we are. Like this is why, when you see, and it's not just us, right? Like it's all photographers that have a lot of experience and get to a certain level. It's not that we don't shoot some of this stuff because like your brain doesn't think quick enough to go, all right, the bird's coming across there. Oh, let me see his wing position. Yeah, that's the right wing position. Let me take like it just there's not enough brain power to compute that, right? Like some of these things happen so fast. You got to just shoot it going through and then you kind of hope for the best, right? And so it's not to say that we don't shoot these like crappy photos and like you had an idea in mind. It was like I would love to have it lined up right over top of the sparkling water, up a little bit higher. But that's not what happened. And so the difference between, a really amazing portfolio or feed on Instagram versus not sometimes isn't necessarily the photographer's only shooting the best stuff. It's more, or at least in combination of, what they choose to share and how picky you are with what you put out there. You know what I mean? And
definitely.
I think in the context of the show, we're going to show you guys down the road and the further we get into this, some of the stuff that is never going to make the cut, I mean, I'm going to show some right now. Like there's no way I'm sharing all these photos on social media. You're not sharing this whole set. Like if you share, you might pick one or two out of this set,
one or two,
max,
that's it.
Right.
Yep. Definitely.
And that's because like we're trying to be that picky. You know, it's not that we don't shoot that stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's an interesting message.
And I think you and I are very much similar too. Like we like to switch up like diversity within our photos that we share on Instagram. We don't share and sit and like I'm going to share 20 turn pictures in the next while of like silhouettes and skies. It just, to me, it just gets too repetitive for the audience and the viewer, the person looking at my work. I'll sprinkle some throughout the year maybe and go back and I'll be like, oh, I have nothing great for this, tomorrow's post. I'll just go grab a turn from that session, right?
Yeah, totally.
So all in all, it was good. It was fun.
Yeah.
I'm glad the ruddy turnstones are back. So I think it's just a matter now of more trickling in and them getting a little bit more established and comfortable in the area, and then they'll start.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Chilling out and
correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like the ones you shot last year, maybe I'm wrong on the dates, but I thought you shot them a little bit later, like towards the end of it, or was it pretty like early on when they came in? You were with them.
So the first encounter I had was like basically right at the last day or so of July like August, the 1st or 2nd, but I did shoot them right until like I think the end of September. Yeah. So it was like a ton of time that I worked off and on throughout. Yeah. But I was just like, it's one of those things you're like, was that a one-off? Did I get really lucky last year? Like, are they actually going to come back? Because I've seen them in the area, but I never ever knew that they went out on that point and fed on those rocks, which work out so well. Chest waders, I can get in. And the reason I'm using the chest waders is because if I just shoot from the land, I can't get the angle that I want at the sun to get the bokeh, to get things to line up right. Yeah. And just with the chest waders, I can move around better. You're kind of like, crawling and leaning over all the rocks that are covered in seaweed and wet. So it just makes movement a lot more free. And I think once you get in the water too, they're generally a little bit more, tame or I don't know, not as scared or
it does seem to do that with a lot of species anyway.
A little bit,
right?
Definitely, yeah.
And plus, like sometimes I don't know about you, but it's sometimes just fun, like being in the water. It's just like different and like playing around. There's like it makes the shooting experience different than just like I just strolled up and laid on the rock or something like that. Exactly. And like honestly, that's part of it. Like it's funny, man. I'll share this story. Like and it's not just one story. There was a period of time, and I'm curious to hear if it was ever the same for you. There was definitely a period of time in my photography where like I was trying to do like the most extreme thing I could to capture a photo. So it'd be like like the floating hide and like especially with water stuff, like just extreme, like making a whole big ordeal out of it. And then after a while, I realized like I got good enough and learned more to realize like, well, I could get basically the same photo or even sometimes a better photo by not doing all of that junk, right? Yep. And so I backed off of that, but there's still something to be said, and I look back on those times, and I still want to incorporate them occasionally because there's something to be said for the sense of fun and adventure that goes into doing all of that crap to get a photo. You know what I mean? Like it just makes the experience like just more interesting than just like, I just walked up. But I think knowing the difference, like my being naive then and my lack of experience then, in my brain it was like, this is what you got to do to get these photos. Now I know it's like, well, not necessarily. There's easier ways to get it, and sometimes there's an easier way to get a better photo, and so I'll take that. But sometimes it's okay to make it a wholehearted fun adventure because that's just fun, Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah, because I mean, even in that location, I could, just walk out if I want, if the tide was right, and just sit on the rock and like, you know what I mean. But I do like, there's something about getting in, with the chest waders and you're in the water, and like you said, it's that sense of adventure with it. But I will say, dude, so the last time I'm pretty much sure the last time I had the chest waders on was like in cooler temperatures. And so of course I've got this hole like right
I
in the
remember
crotch.
You saying at the end of last season.
So of course when it's like, -5 out and it's icy cold water, it's not comfortable. Dude, last night
it felt great.
It was like hot. I'm like, oh, this feels good. I'm like, let more water in, right? Like just cooling me down. So yeah,
that's
it
so
felt
funny.
good.
So I'm curious actually, Brett, why wear the waders at all? Why not just wear pants that you can just like get wet? Is it just because of like you don't feel like getting completely soaked and it's just a pain? Or is the water still too cold to stay in there for a period of time?
and that's it, because I'm like basically planning to stay in there for at least an hour, sometimes
okay.
2 hours.
Gotcha.
So I'm thinking as like when I first arrive, no, it's probably like decent enough. But then once like our kind of like everything starts to set, it gets cold pretty quick. Our waters don't warm up like not near what you experience.
No, I know, man.
No, definitely not. No. So yeah, it's just more for comfort.
Okay,
sure.
no, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Are you gonna you got to update these things this year, right? You're gonna upgrade them. Or maybe replace them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I got to replace them. Yeah. No,
okay.
I can't keep this up. No, we get going into the winter. Well, it's
that's what I was hoping.
Not fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Funny.
No.
Yeah. So yeah, dude, we left the Puffins. Like I haven't shot in I don't know, 4 or 5 days, something like that. Like I haven't really.
Okay.
Yeah, we.
But man, you shot so much. Like
I
can see why you take a break.
I'm fine with it. Yeah,
definitely.
I'm looking for a break. Like we're here in this spot now in Corner Brook. That's where I'm at right now because there's a bunch of mountain bike trails system built here.
Nice.
So I'm hoping actually after this recording, I got one more thing, one more client, and then I'm hoping to get out and get on the bike. Emily's out hiking right now.
Nice. Cool.
And so yeah, it's just like a little bit of a break because next we're gonna head into Gross Morn and really hit some hiking and hopefully some more photography there. And then work our way up to where I'm going to be doing the workshop with the caribou coming at the end of August.
Nice. Yeah.
And then we're hoping to get ourselves like maybe a solid week in that area before just to scout it out, number one, make sure I'm ready for the job, but number two, get some time for ourselves to kind of really spend some time with those animals because it's just they're so fun to just chill with. To just chill with them.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a perfect location too to really like enjoy them up close and stuff. Yeah, it's really nice. That's awesome.
So there's definitely some photography coming up, but yeah, I'm like I'm cool right now with just like keeping it mellow. Yeah. Like I'll be surprised if I have anything for next week's show that's like new. You know, it'll be interesting. We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, the beauty of this is like we get to stumble into stuff. Like amazing van story. Yesterday, we were out on Fogo Island. You and a bunch of other people suggested we go there. I'm glad we went. There's some prettiness there. I think in hindsight, I would never go back again because it's like no different to me than the mainland here. So it's like why do the extra effort to get out there? I think it sounds like from what you've said, and I think from what we kind of discern from other people, it's like a lot of people go out to see like there's some really unique architecture out there and just like the old quaint buildings and stuff. And that doesn't really connect with me and Emily. So we're looking more for the landscape. So we were just like, yeah, whatever. It's pretty, but it's just more of the same, and we could have just stayed on the mainland. Anyway, we're out there. We ended up in this one camping area. We stayed there for the night, and I just had a bunch of work to do. So I was recording a couple podcasts yesterday, and I'm recording this podcast, and right in the middle of it, I look out the window, and I'm like, oh, what is that? And I'm still like, I'm trying to pay attention, but I'm like, trying to keep the conversation going. It's like, it's a guest episode, so it's not like you where I can half ignore you and just let you go.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'm looking, I'm like, damn, that looks like a fox, but I'm like, it's real dark, like almost all black. And then I'm watching, and I'm like, sure enough, I'm like, yeah, it came out enough, and I'm like, I think it's a kit. And Emily's sitting up front in the van here. She was just sitting up there. She had her headphones in, just like, I think doing some work on her computer. And so I'm like. I'm trying, and it's just thankfully it's the audio only podcast. And I'm just like waving like a maniac. She finally looks over. I'm like pointing, and she's like, "What?" I'm like, and I'm still talking, and I'm like lipping the word fox, right? And she finally looks out. She looks out her window, doesn't say. I'm like, over here, and she comes over and looks. She's like, I'm like, you want your camera, and all of this. I'm still trying to do the podcast. I'm sitting right here where I'm at right now.
No way.
Oh, I'm doing all this through the podcast. Keeping the conversation going. Shoot. And she's like, her camera's up here in the cabinet. So I have to swing the microphone over and like reach in, grab that, hand it to her. Thankfully, she just had it. Like dude, I love it, man. I'm so grateful for our setup. It's like it really is like one of the coolest things. We have a camera cabinet back here. We have a Z9 mounted on the 400-2.8 ready to go. We got her Z8 mounted on the 400-4.5. And then usually standard, it's you never know, but most of the time, we got the Z6iii mounted with the 100-400. So like at a moment's notice, like you see something, you just like reach in and grab whatever you want. So I grabbed her Z8, handed it to her, out she went. And she got these shots of it. Like I think did she send some? She sent some screenshots.
She did with the flower.
Yeah, we had like the flowers in front, and it wasn't like the best encounter, but it was like this like super dark fox kit, almost all black. he was a red fox, but just the cross fox.
The cross.
Yeah.
Cross fox. Yeah.
And he ended up doing a pounce on just playing around out there, and she got that on video, like slow-mo video, which I'm like, she's like, I just happened to be recording. Like, he wasn't doing it before. She hit record, and then like he pounced. So she's got that on video, and she nailed it.
Nice. Oh, nice.
And then he kind of like, I guess, saw her and just like kind of meandered off and went on his way. But I'm like, that's just the coolest damn thing. It's just the coolest thing that we can be there and just out here so much and see stuff like that. And you jump outside and shoot,
Yep.
Yeah. So who knows?
Well,
the coming week, that kind of
there.
stuff might happen. Yeah, that's the other thing, right?
Right, because a lot of us, like, I'm an outdoorsy kind of person, so like we're doing family things, we're out, like we might go on a hike or might go on whatever, and it's like you have an encounter, something happens, you're like, oh,
would have been
my
nice.
camera, like, right? Like in your case, like a lot of times if you guys are in camping areas or like off in those pull-off areas that you guys do, and then all of a sudden something happens, you're there and you're ready. Yeah, it's awesome.
It's amazing.
That's cool.
So I'll just go real quick through my last outing with the Puffins. Yeah, this was like one of those American Pippets, and this was evening. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I have an evening shoot and a morning shoot here. And so that was like the last of the stuff I didn't show last time. So yeah, just got this pivot, beautiful light,
I love the layering on.
Oh, thanks.
Sorry. I love the layering of the light. Like you got the shadow on the rock, then light, shadow on the background, then light. Like that layer is really good.
Yeah. And I'm
really
embracing that 400-2.8, man. It's back in my graces. I've been shooting it a little bit more, here and there, and recognizing like the beauty of it.
Awesome.
But then I was like, let's do some 35 tilt shift stuff, So this is the Lensbaby, the 35 millimeter
really cool.
tilt thing. And I had a few here. There was definitely some I had a question for. This one I really liked. This one to me is really cool, what that tilt lens can do, because I get to show off that landscape but make that whole left side fall off focus wise. And this one was one where I just like I crook the lens to the side, so it's just like the focal plane is basically the right side there, with maybe like a little bit of an angle, I think, And I was like, you know what? Let me just like let that left side blur out, so you really boy, does it slam your eye over there,
I think that's
right?
a good choice.
Yeah.
Yep. I think it's a great choice, and I love that you see all that dramatic cliff, all the way down, then ocean, then light on the C stack. That C stack doesn't really intersect, like you actually got water going around to that like bit of a peninsula or whatever going out there. It really worked.
Thanks, man.
Really
and the spotlight on the bird was required. Like it needed that spotlight on him. If it didn't have that,
definitely
he was going to blend in.
He'd be lost. Yeah, he'd get lost.
But I love this. You ready? So this is 35 millimeter view. It's out of focus on the left, but you get an idea. You ready? There's 10. So wait, you ready?
Oh, no way.
Like, look, that's the rock.
Yeah.
Like I basically haven't moved.
Wow.
Very little, right? That's the rock that you're only seeing a portion of in the 35 millimeter. So that's 35
Wow.
to 10. And like, it's just crazy how much more you get to see.
That's wild.
It's crazy.
It's amazing. That's wild. Yeah, like even way more sky, like everything.
Like literally, if you look at it, like 35
crazy.
Basically went to like half of that rock from where this bird was, And all that happened that was different here is he basically like stood up from where he was like nestled in there, and you can see he was kind of like nestled in the same spot.
Yeah.
So then I finally this is the lead up to this. This is a shot I've had in my mind with this 10 millimeter since I basically got here. Puffins are so comical. They have, I feel like, look at them regular. They already have like exaggerated proportions and stuff like that. The big goofy shaped head, clown shaped bill, the feet, they're all tiny and they waddle, right? So they're just like that.
Yep.
And I knew if I got close enough to one, I could exaggerate those with a wide angle, right? And 24 would still do it if you put them like on an edge, but I knew this 10 would like do it extreme. And so it's funny, man, like probably 4 or 5 different times I got close enough to a puffin, but I didn't have the 10 with me or on me, you know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
And so I was always bummed that it just like I had the wrong lens whenever I found like the friendliest of them.
Right.
Because you know how they all are. Like they're all generally friendly, but some are just more curious and bold than others. So anyway, this guy was on point. I really liked the soft light. I kind of wanted it to be just a little even, and then I got the shot. Like here's where it really like the pose and the distortion from the head there
goofy. Yeah.
is so
I love that you
silly.
see his little feet too. Like
Right?
the feet are there perfectly too.
Totally. I mean, his
That's
feet and his
so
body looks
cool.
so tiny. The head
Yeah.
looks all big
Yeah.
and bulbous, and yeah.
That's super cute.
And it's just like exactly that. It's that cute look I wanted to get that I
Yep.
thought I knew I could if I could just find the cooperative bird. And so this was like the last night of shooting puffins. I finally
okay.
got it,
Wow.
which
Yeah.
is pretty cool.
And I'm impressed that the head didn't touch the land or the
yeah.
horizon in the top. Like,
I was
man,
working
that's a small window. 'Cause,
Yep.
I mean, they're turning their heads quite a
Constantly.
bit, so it's hard to judge if once that head turns profile if it's gonna intersect. So you did well.
Yeah, because this and it actually
Yeah.
worked there too. You know
It
what
works
I mean?
out there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I actually
Yeah.
like I mean, this one looking towards. He just looks so like dopey sad there or something. Like it's just like the
Yeah.
expression I like on this one.
Puppy eyes.
Yeah, totally. That's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just fun
Really
to
nice.
get, and finally, as I took it, I'm like, oh, I finally got it. I could tell in that moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was it for that evening. We didn't shoot a lot. I was just trying to shoot different, So and the light was,
Mm-hmm.
you can see the sky was pretty plain. There wasn't like a lot of drama
Yeah.
going on. So it was just like we both did good. Me and Emily of just being like, all right, we don't need to shoot crazy here. Like we've shot enough. Like let's be real picky.
We're gonna have 20,000.
Yeah. The next morning, I guess this is still that evening.
Okay.
There was some light down there, so I played with the tilt shift again. So this one I really went with
Yep.
like that
I
diagonal
like that.
focal plane through there.
Mhm.
But I
Yep.
was curious, like, so this one where you get some of the rocks in focus, the stacks stay in focus back there,
Mhm.
or this one where it kind of almost splits the rocks in focus. I don't know, but I like. Well, I'm curious.
I like. Yeah, I like. It's funny because I like that leading line that it creates from the focus plane going up between,
Yeah.
because you already are going to have the rocks on the left hand that are out of focus, so then
Yep.
it almost balances it to have the ones on the right.
Yeah.
But then there was part of me that like, just go back to the other one again. Nah, I like the one of it going through.
Do you? Okay. Yeah. I like the
Yeah,
pose
and I
of
think
him
the
in the rock here, but I think I like the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the reason being is because, like, because he is somewhat smaller in the frame, like, then because the rocks are super focused too, like my eye competes between the two or something.
Yeah.
But I agree, like the positioning of him on the other one, out on that kind of like that rock and the light on it, like that, I really, really like that.
I know. Yeah. So that's the
But
thing
yeah,
that
I like the
challenged
other
me
one.
with it. But all right, let's ask you, audience, left or right? Which one? Number
Yes.
1 or number 2? I'll
Yeah.
leave them up on the screen for a little bit. Which one do you guys like better? Certainly be curious to hear. So yeah, there's number 1 and there's number 2. Yeah, let us know in the comments. But anyway, we'll keep moving along. So cut to, this is the next morning. And this was the, we didn't know it
Wow.
yet, dude. Like we saw that sky. I just thought it was clouds with that little opening up there, but it was just smoke. It was wildfire, smoky
that haze. Yep.
Yep, that's what it was, dude.
Wow.
Because
Yep.
you'll see,
Wow.
once that sun broke through that line up top, it ended up
Yep.
being it still kept coming through, and so
Mhm.
it was already a dramatic sky when we walked out. Like this was early, you can see early morning stuff, right? 30th of a second, but
Yep.
and so I know there's a lot of playing room here. Getting back to talking to shutter speeds like we were earlier. I mean, I'm at ISO 250. I could easily increase that a lot, right?
Oh,
But like,
why?
would you? Well, that, but also, like, can you think of another, like, an actual reason to keep that ISO that low in a shot like this?
To keep it low?
Yeah, to keep the ISO like that low in a shot like this. Like, why did I? And it was a conscious decision, like why I kept it that low. Because here I'll show you. Like this might help, right?
Yeah, I want to
There's
see
straight
the
out of
original.
camera.
Yeah, I was gonna say because you're underexposed. Yeah, I mean
That's it.
To me, because of that light that was coming in the back, then it was gonna be the rest gonna be underexposed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. So it's
Right, 'cause
all
you're
dynamic
recovering
range.
the detail.
Yep. That was it. So I knew I could easily, triple that ISO, be up to 1,000 ISO, and it's fine, right? But 1,000 ISO isn't going to come back in the same way and the
No.
same look that this did, right? Because this came
No.
back like really good, and like if I zoom in on that, like look at that, like and
Yeah.
guys, I've done no noise reduction on this. Like this is just in Lightroom,
Straight.
making those changes,
Yeah.
like editing up those
Yeah.
shadows, and again, I'll show
Yeah.
everybody like. that's what he looked like out of the camera. You know,
Yep.
that's what he looked like
Yep.
in my viewfinder. All I cared about, honestly, was like getting that exposure
Protecting
right there.
that. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's it, man.
Yep.
And
Definitely.
so, and you and I do this all the time, you know, where we shoot for whatever's happening in that bright spot, that brightest spot, whether it be bokeh or clouds or sky or something like that. And it's just like almost to the point of like, be damn the bird and the exposure on it, because we know we can do that. You know,
definitely.
Yeah.
Yep.
And like,
and I mean, the thing is too, like, where you're using such a wide lens.
Correct.
And you know, very compact, lightweight lens, you can easily get away 130. The Puffins, you know, they'll at moments they'll pause and they'll just like hold it there, so you can easily get away with that low of a shutter speed.
Look at it. Like, he's tack sharp in that light. And he was like lit up like a bunch. I mean, I lifted up like crazy, right? So like, it's just amazing. I love the glow on the water back there, like the colors and everything. Like,
so
it's just
pretty.
Yeah, it was real pretty morning, man. So then I just played with like the shape of this. It was all about that like V of light pointing right to him, you know, so just running around making that happen. This guy went after Emily's coffee. So that's hilarious. He was totally
I got a question
about that.
for you.
Yeah.
Would you consider a 16:9 crop on that? Like, why did you keep so much sky? Just to create a more of a bigger scale?
Yes.
Minimalistic kind of feel to it. Okay.
Yep, I think it can work the other way, and I have some others that I edited where I did do that. But I love well, and also part of it, Brad, is a great question. Is I love that blue. Like, it's a pretty blue to me. I like it, so I'm okay with seeing more of it.
Yep.
But I think it would totally work fine in a pano crop like that as well. You know, for sure. Yeah, I think it's got potential both ways. And then this was it, dude. Like, the sun was just coming right up there. Yeah. And I knew what we were going to get, which is coming up next here. I knew it was coming. As soon as I saw that, I thought we were going to have, here's what I thought. I thought we were going to have this, 10-minute, 15-minute window of right in there, right? But what I didn't know is, you know, you'll see what happened. But in that moment, that's what was next, you know? And this is where,
all day.
Yeah. I went back to that 400-8 and just let it go giant bokeh in the background. And had a blast with it, like the light on the bird, again, just exposing nice and dark. And I don't think I went too dark on this. Oh yeah, well there you go. Yeah, exposing for that background. you know, but he comes up fine.
And it was early enough, right? So this is a great example. If you take advantage of that early, like that first, like you're out on a coastline, you're gonna get that sunrise. You know what I mean? You're gonna see that first couple minutes of light. If you then focus on that bokeh, you don't have to underexpose your subject that much. Like, you can, it's almost like a balance. It's not far off. But I mean, if you give that shot, now in your case, the conditions probably helped a little bit more, but on a general clear day, 5 minutes after that, you're like
totally
way underexposed. You're going silhouettes, like you're
only.
You're just not getting it. Yep.
Totally.
Definitely.
Look at the recovery again, keeping that eye at 320. Like, I can see his eye. I can see the difference in shade from the color part of the eye to the black. Like, that detail is all there. And again, just to show everybody, like, that's where it started. You know. Yeah. It's just I love shooting like this. Definitely. So shot a bunch of these. They just dude, the light was
love that.
It was so good, man. It was so good. So and I did. This is already. It was getting brighter. But then, like, it got real bright and like orange. It just turned so nuclear orange. And then it got up into that cloud bank, what I thought was a cloud bank. And I thought, I remember saying to Emily, I'm like, all right, we got like a couple minutes. Here it's going to go. And then it just stayed. And it just turned beautiful.
Glowed.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, here, I'll go forward and come back to that. But this is like later. Yeah. Like, it actually got softer once it got up there.
Way.
And like, I was able to, like, I don't think this one was that under, let's see. Yeah, look, like they're straight out of camera. Yeah. Like, I didn't push him that much. You know what I mean? So it actually got,
because it's all filtered light.
It got easier as it got up into that smoke. And then,
definitely.
I don't know what it is. You've seen it before. I don't know what it is. I'd love to know the technical reason for when the sun is coming through that smoke, why it turns it orange. It gets more orange.
I don't know.
Like, as it gets higher.
Does. Yeah, it's like red. Yeah, it does.
Real bizarre. Yeah.
But it's so subtle. Like, it's such a, like you said, like we've done it. You and I've done it in person. Like, you have those conditions and then you like take your hand up and look at it and you're like, there's nothing would be on the bird or anything. Like you don't see it, but then if it's reflected like on water and whatever, you do see that little hint. So it's really pretty to work with.
So this one was fun though. I had just grabbed some vegetation. I was just dangling it in front of the 400 2.8 and like holding it up in there and just trying to put some like fun textures in it. So that was kind of cool.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, just trying to mix it up. I had nothing but time with the bokeh stuff, you know. So and then this was fun. I still had the 400 2.8 on, but at this point the light got so soft at 2.8. The bokeh was so big and soft, it all just blended together and was like not really discernible. Yeah. So I actually went down. I closed the aperture all the way to 7.1 to actually start seeing the bokeh balls again there. Yeah. And got that. And again, like this one was an interesting one. Like, look, straight out of camera. Look at the light. Like the color. That's the funky color. Yep. It had that like weird cyan, reddish orange color. So like cool. I just exaggerated it, but like didn't. It almost looks like I like toned this in Lightroom after the fact, doesn't it?
Yeah, right? Was it split toning or something? Was a big thing for a while.
It totally looks like that. Yeah.
It's got that. Yeah.
Anyway, so that
I
was
love
good.
that you see that little foot. Yeah. It's like that added little something. It's almost like he was like stumbling on the rocks and he was like kind of catching himself or balancing. Yeah. Right?
It's out of
just
focus
that little
too,
foot up. And but it's that back foot. Yeah. Very nice.
And then the light kind of like fizzled a little bit, and it just got like we were both just like, yeah, you can't really see the bokeh anymore. So we just started playing with like some of the soft light. And I don't love this shot, but it's included again to just show the comparison. You ready? This guy was another super. In fact, it was probably the same friendly one from the night before, same area. But 24 millimeter. All right, so let's take a note of what we're seeing around this bird here. 10 millimeter. Same spot. So look at this rock. That's the rock that's clipped at 24 millimeter. Yep. Look how much space it gets at 10. Like, so that really, to me.
It's like it changes the light and everything. Like, it's
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
It's different.
It really is, yeah. This was moments
just got
apart.
More context.
In fact, I had crawled into this guy with this 24. I'm like, you know what? Enough with the 10. Let me work something else. And then I get in here with this. And then Brad, he was leaning inside of minimum focus. Like I couldn't focus on with the 24. So at that point, I was like, all right, I need to play with the 10. So actually, Emily was nearby. I asked her, I was like, can you bring me the 10? So I didn't even move. He stayed put. She kind of like snuck in behind me, handed me the 10. I switched over and shot this. So like, dude, it is really like the same moment and light and everything. It's just like, I don't know what goes on with that lens, but it does something, man. It really does.
Yeah, it's special. Yeah. It's so cool.
And then on the way out, this was our last morning, we were walking out, and the light started getting interesting in another spot. So I started playing with some backlit flight stuff, you know. And this was one where I did get my shutter speed up there. You know, they were coming in hot, backlit, trying to get them against that black rock. You know, there's a short window there. And I totally did the I set my exposure, full manual, no auto anything, and then I turned off the exposure matching in the viewfinder so I could see it nice and bright and light. Because these were definitely, I'll show straight out of camera on these, they were definitely like a little bit darker. Well, I guess not that bad actually.
Yeah, no, it's not bad at all.
But it got a little bit harder to see them in camera as I was like exposing them darker, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Wide area box you're using?
Yeah, wide area on all these, man. Yeah. It just seems to be working really good for me. Yeah, and I really like this one. I thought that came in quite nice. So
that's really nice. Yeah, I like the foreground. Yeah, because you don't get to play with foreground very often with flight stuff.
Nope.
Like, when do we get that?
I know.
You're right. It's usually just the sky or just that background that we're working with. It's rare you get foreground, so it's really cool.
Yeah, they were swooping up, doing the you know, the flare thing to land right in front of me there. So I was like, I can pick off a few of these, no problem. They should look good. Definitely. And the light, like the glow coming in, was really sweet. So really nice. They were fun. Yeah, and then this was right before we left that whole area. We were staying out there in about, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes from where the Puffins are in this beautiful spot. And we stayed for, I don't know, like another night or two just because the weather was like not great. So we were like, why go anywhere? I had some work to do. But we pulled in the one day and there was this flock of probably like 30 Wimbrel out with this stuff in the background. I'm like, oh, this scene, I saw it. I'm like, are you kidding me?
So cool.
So again, you know, we didn't even finish parking. I just parked the van. We were just driving through like,
oh no,
it's that spot, you know, but you can just like go out there and just drive kind of around the terrain. The tundra is so packed that in certain spots you just drive anywhere and it's allowed.
Just drive.
You know? So we were driving out to a parking spot, and I was like, well, let's stop here. We just jumped out and started using some rocks to block us and creep in on these guys. But I didn't realize there were so many. And, dude, I'm sure you've had this happen. I'm sure everybody listening has probably had this happen. And it's a reminder of, like, when you see the birds in front of you, especially a flock of birds, if you just see 1 or 2 birds, you're probably fine. But if you see a flock of birds, look around as you're approaching.
Yeah.
Move a little bit and look around because, damn it, dude. Like, the whole group was up ahead. I'm focused on. We found this mound of rocks. We dipped below it, and we were just, like, moving in quick because we're like, they can't see us. There was another 1 or 2 way off to my left. I had no idea. They saw it, sounded the alarm, off they all went. I was like, son of a...
Yeah. Drive you crazy. I know.
Well, because like
it's the same
you're
thing.
focused in on this big group. You're like, of course, like that's what I'm going to see.
It's got to be all
right?
of them. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, there's 2 over there. Hit me up on the alarm, but at least I got this before they took off. So.
Which is really cool.
Yeah. I was happy. About
that whitewash coming down the rock just makes it look. That's the feature there for me.
I had another really good set, but the stupid bird on the left, there was another one right behind him, just stacked. So it was like a double billed bird, and they wouldn't split for a while. And I had like bigger waves crashing. The ocean was really
really?
Yeah, they were better. But I'm like, that second bird just would not move. So then they finally moved. And I mean, I'm still happy with it, but
yeah.
you know.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So
to see him in that environment. I've tried them so many times, dude. I've had no luck. Like, they're such skittish.
Aren't they?
As soon as you stop your vehicle, and from my experience, anytime I've ever stopped, they take flight. They take off every time.
So that was a recap of my last week. Yeah, and then we just did this little bit of travel around stuff and just kind of taking it easy now. So
nice.
So let's switch over to our topic. Do you want to intro high key or should I?
You do it because I'm not a fan.
Yes, I know. That's what I want to hear. We'll have a little bit of conversation about it. He's not a fan, but look what he shared, right? Like, Brad's just like, he's not a fan of high key, but he's got the ptarmigan in the snow, the fox in the snow, and some really cool stuff here. So last week we talked about low key, which is basically getting a black background. And again, our goal, me and Brad, is always to try and do this in camera, or get, I should say, as close to it in camera as possible, right? There's some times where you can't get exactly your vision, but you set your settings, you line up your light, you do everything you can in the field to get it as close to possible so you don't have to push the edit as far. And in the end, like, I don't know about you, Brad, but like, I'm not opposed to push an image pretty far. I think I'd probably push it more than you sometimes. I would say. Would you agree?
I might have pushed them on this. I think I pushed them on these.
All right.
We'll see.
But in general, like, both of us are like, we're not afraid to do that, but that's never our goal. Like, our goal is always to try and do as much as we can in the field to get it as close to right as possible so that the thinking for me is it's going to look more natural that way, right? If it's done in camera or close to in camera, it's just going to look more natural than, like, if we were to shoot any of these shots right here on like a nice medium background that just was, let's just call it like busy and ugly, and then try to cut it out and make it white, or try to select it and make it white, it is not going to look right. It's going to look absurd. Something's going to look off, right? And is
definitely.
I hate to say it, but I'm like, I think I can safely say, as good as you may think you are in masking and like cutting out something, you're not good enough. And even if you mask it out perfectly, what you haven't done is make the light that wraps around everything else in the photo, including your subject, look realistic, right? And so there's a look that happens when your background is, I guess we should just call it a blackground. That's a good one.
A background,
a black background. When your black background is actually that way, like we showed last week, the lighting does something on your subject and it fits and it blends in. When we're looking at photos like this where the light is truly white around your background, it does something to the light. But here's the key. In my opinion, I don't know if you agree, Brad, and I know you don't do it quite that often, but you do not want to truly overexpose that background almost ever.
Yeah, I don't. And I think going back to like what we were saying about making big changes, or like our edits are a bit much, and it's something I need to work on more with, that is that I tend to, like, I'm an underexposing kind of photographer. Like, I always shoot my stuff darker, and I tend to still kind of do that with the whiter scene when I don't really need to. Like I need to be pushing a little bit more,
Gotcha.
Like exposure comp a little bit up more instead of I'll either stay like almost like at zero neutral or like, I'll push it just a little bit. So you'll see in many of my like raw files, it's more gray, dull than I kind of would want. I'm always in this like protect the highlight mode, and I don't want to like I kind of stick in that realm. But I guess for me that's what I meant by like pushing the edit a little bit is just having to like increase the exposure a little bit more. But
well, I'll add this though, Brad. Like most of these examples, not all, but most of your examples here in this one, if I'm not correct, are from DSLR, right?
There might be it's about half and half, I guess.
Okay, all right. So I just think mirrorless makes it easier again. Mirrorless makes it easy to bump up that exposure right against the edge and be like, all right, my background's starting to overexpose, and here's the reason why.
Right.
Like, I'll just go to this one real quick before we hear you talk about your example. If I overexpose too much in camera, I'm going to start washing out all the details on my subject. It's going to start overexposing and like washing over it. I'm going to like lose contrast and color and richness. But if I bring it right up to the verge of like, all right, background's pretty light, but not overexposing, we'll see. And we have raw files on all these so we can show. But let's talk about one of the most common examples of a high key scenario, and one that you've done the most here because of where you live. I don't get to shoot that often, and it's snow.
Yep. Definitely. Yeah. And I think to kind of give me a little bit of a wiggle room, I think the reason I do, like in your example with the wood duck, with like that foggy-ish kind of condition or that overcasty kind of look, you're wanting to blow it out. You don't really want like water texture. You're not looking for any textures in it. Yeah. And when I'm looking at the snow, I'm always thinking, well, I want to protect, and only simply because if there's areas I want to have like some texture in it, I want to keep that. So I tend to underexpose, like I said, a little more than what I should. But I think in my case, like in many cases, like I think if you look at even the crossbill one, like like you're on a overcasty kind of day, so you're just blown out. I don't want to save anything. So like even there, I went higher in the exposure comp, right?
+1.
Whereas the other ones, it was like either just no exposure compensation or just a little hint of it, right? Not even a full stop. So
so before you talk about snow, I will add this though, but there's still something to like your background in relation to your subject is still light, is still whiter. You're looking for that. You're lining that up right. This still isn't taking, just like we talked about with the low key stuff, this isn't taking a photo with like just a medium tone background that's like whatever and trying to turn it into a high key. And I guess like that's what I think we both want to share and teach here is like this stuff can be done in camera, like and even if your exposure is darker, like let's take a look at Brad's here right out of camera, right? Like so oops, I just gotta hit reset here. Even when you expose it darker, the relationship between the subject and the background hasn't changed. Look at that. I mean, that's not much, dude. Like that's
I know.
Pretty like yes, you protected the highlights, but look at the relationship between your subject and the white around it, right? Like that's there. And so then at that point is when you go ahead and make your minor edits. So yeah, is there anything in general you would say about? Oh, go ahead.
So one other thing I was going to say, and like you were talking about, kind of like manipulating an image so it kind of looks like it had a white background. So like one thing you can't, and you were talking about light, which is such a great point. Like when you're talking about snow, there's a beautiful thing about photographing in snow is you get that bounce light that you're just not going to get from anything else. So it fills like underbelly shadows. Like, look at this subject. If this was like a dark rock or something like that, you'd see there'd be shadow up under its belly. This is just this evenly soft exposed light on them. I think it was like an overcasty day that I shot this. So like it just worked out really, really well. Like I said, like for me, I do kind of, underexpose a little bit because I'm always thinking about, especially with snow, like I like when it's super, super bright, but then sometimes I do want just a little hint of like some kind of like texture in there. I don't always get it, but I like to kind of leave like a little kind of hint of the snow so people know that, well, I mean, they obviously know it's snow, but it kind of, to me, makes people realize it wasn't some fake thing where I just like selected and just blasted everything out so it was just overexposed, so...
Well, and it
Yeah,
connects your
these
subject to the
guys are
habitat in a little bit, right?
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah,
totally.
definitely.
Yep.
But yeah,
I think
these
that's
guys
important.
were so much fun.
They're great.
But like even when I go back and like edit some of these, like like I had so many different scenarios with them that I don't know if you go back and look at sessions from like years past, and now you have like either new kit or new experience. You're like, why did I just shoot everything tight? Like, why did I do this? Like, I was so stupid. You know, I wish there was more context to some of the shots. But yeah,
that's growth, right?
Birds. Yeah,
that's growth.
it is.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Yep,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yep. For sure.
Yeah, so snow is obviously a common occurrence, but another time when it can happen is just like overcast, right? Overcast, this one has a little hint of fog, but we'll talk about real fog a little bit later. But just overcast light, and I'll do the same thing here. I'll just show like my straight out of camera. Perfect example, right? Of like, it's a little bit darker to begin with, but you know, that light background is there, and then when I just like lift the exposure, add that little bit of contrast, I get that nice clean white. And let me bring up settings here. We'll just stay and develop.
So question for you while you're waiting for that. So, and I think similar in many of my cases, I think yours as well and stuff, like when you've got a subject that's got white as well in it, like are you also thinking about like, well, I don't want to blow, because that's the other thing. Like if this was just like a dark bird, you could then push your settings even further. It was just like a crow or something like that, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like you could push even further and blow the whites out. But then you got, you know, like in this scenario, you've got a multicolored bird that you don't want to blow out. You know, any of those highlights on the bird, right?
And your example of this ptarmigan here is a perfect one. And this is, you know, I'll call it a personal preference. And I do think there are times when I've seen images where you can get away with it, but I personally love the fact that you can see the entire outline of this bird against the snow. And even in here, it's subtle, right? But it's there. I personally don't like when, and this is where I think, again, it's not 100%, but I think more often than not, it comes from trying to force an edit on a high key. When I've seen an edit just where somebody takes the highlights and the whites and just cranks it up, then all of a sudden you start getting this overexposure between your background right into the subject. Like you lose the edge of the subject. It just bleeds together. There's no separation. I think it just doesn't look that nice. And again, just my opinion, right? Some people might like that look, which is totally fine, but I think it just looks too pushed. It doesn't look real.
Yeah. So the only time I think for me personally that it works is if someone's doing like I've seen it done where like a very artistic kind of interpretation, like a razor bill or something that's got it, and they blow the white out, just the shape to kind of like continue the shape into the bird or something like that. Like I've seen it done a few times from certain people, and I really do like it. If it's done where it's not just like a portrait, but it's in some like artistic kind of composition form that they're kind of trying to achieve. So I think then I don't really care then if it gets blown.
It's a little bit more abstract. At that point.
That's the word I'm going for. Yeah, more of an abstract kind of form. Yeah.
But if you're just trying to still capture your subject on a high key background, I think you're totally right. Right? Like, you know, like all of the white values in this one still have detail in them, just like your ptarmigan. You know what I mean? And so, you know, in this case, I was shooting manual, so there was no exposure compensation, but I can guarantee you that meter was running high. You know what I mean? And then, like moving on to like some real, like, this is incredible, dude. Like, just love this sort of snow.
Right. Yeah. Those conditions. Yeah. They're just like amazing. And then with that subject, I mean, to get a silver fox, I think it was like, I think this was like the first time I ever photographed one too. This guy was so much fun. And, you know, even at one, like he was going by, and I don't know if he was just sniffing things out and he was just going like that. And then he came right to that point and lifted up, and he had this just big ball on top. So
good.
Yeah. Again, you know, like for him, you know, this was like a distant hillside in the back. So there was like a little bit of like some texture there. But again, I didn't want to blow out that snow. I, you know, didn't fully overexpose or anything. I think in the edit, barely edited that one. I think I'd even push the background maybe a smidge more, but
But
I think
the
if
darker
I
gray
did, then
makes the snow show, the snowflakes.
That's exactly what I was just about to say. I think I'd only push it maybe a hair more, but I want that snow to kind of stand out.
Yeah.
So, I think it worked out really, really well.
Yeah, and so like this is these are great examples. Like in these snowy conditions, and here's another one right here. It's like if you can see the snow, you don't want to just like hammer it bright, and just like go too extreme, because I'll show you what'll happen here if I can get my cursor to catch up. It's so funny. Like when I'm doing all this screen recording and everything, my cursor just like lags like crazy. Yeah,
right?
It's just like
yeah.
It's like playing it's moving on its own right now. I'm not even touching it. It's still trying to catch up to me. Here we go. But yeah, if you did something like I went too far there, but if we did something like that, like we're starting to lose a lot of that snowy texture back there, right? And that is important in this one. But it's still and like this one might fall in the verge of like some might not call it true high key, but I'm calling it that, just in the vein of like we're going for a mostly white background. We're not looking to get a lot of detail there, and like just managing and dealing with that. And so I think if we see your original here, it kind of really goes to show what you talked about a lot, Brad, which is not overexposing it, right? So there we go. And again, minor edit, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely. But like I said, I think personally,
this is awesome.
I could push a little bit. Yeah, that whole dude. So again, I say I don't like shooting high key stuff.
Yeah, let's hear more about that.
Opportunities. Well, I guess the thing is for me, like, and most times when I think of high key scenarios, I think of boring light. Like I think it's scenarios often where it's overcast, it's maybe like a foggy thing. Like I don't have great light to kind of work with. Yeah. And I guess like, this is an amazing example. I think Ray will talk about it a little bit more with shapes and curves, and there's an interest
there. There's got to be something there.
But like, exactly. But when I'm like thinking like, I don't know, like I'm in front of a whatever subject, a duck or whatever, and it's just like flat light, I'm just bored with it. I could do high key stuff, but it just
doesn't excite
I love light so much. It just does not excite me. So those are typically the scenarios that I think about, and that's why I don't really think about it much. Winters here, I wish winters here were like they were 20 years ago when I was younger, but we just don't get the accumulation of snow, and like if we do, it's very, very short-lived. So I don't get the opportunity to play with landscapes that are like crazy snow cover, that are just pristine and clean. Like we get snow cover, but it's not enough to kind of like cover a lot of the vegetation. So it's just, it doesn't give me that clean palette that I'd love to kind of work with to give me like shooting like wider space. So what I'm leading into is this particular year, which I think was like maybe 2020, 2019, somewhere around there. If we get the proper winds, the good amount of ice flow that kind of comes down from the north, if everything kind of lines up right, the bay that is behind my house will actually get completely like locked in with ice.
Yeah.
So this is what happened. All this ice, the sheet ice came in, everything came in. So I went down to a place called Holyrood into that bay. And when I got down there, I think we were just like, I think I had my family with me and everything. We just went for a drive.
Okay.
And when I got down, there were like 2 or 3 eagles out sitting on just this vast open ice, like just
so cool.
And it was all like, like pinnacles and everything. So the other thing that was interesting was which I guess is unfortunate too, potentially unfortunate for this situation, this is around when the avian flu was really kind of kicked in. So I think that plus some of the birds getting locked in with the ice, there were a lot of the murres that were actually just dying. So the eagles were just having a field day. They were just going around picking up everything. So shortly after I arrived, this eagle came in, landed with the common murre and just perched up there, and I was like, oh, I'm in heaven. Like this is, so I just kind of like got down as low as I could, used the foreground ices, just washed everything out, and yeah, like just gave me such a cool, and this guy stayed forever. Like I got him on different ones without kill and just different poses. The light happened at one point. It kind of like cleared up, and I actually got some light on this guy with like a bluer sky, and yeah, it was just a bunch of everything changed throughout that evening. So, but I love that clean, just and that the birds, like the dark portions of the birds really just stand out and draw your attention in. So yeah, that was a fun evening.
A perfect example of what you were talking about, though, of leaving some details right where you want them. So it's not just like, because think about it, if you go too light with this and you lose the detail on the ice, he's just floating and he's like standing in space, right? It doesn't make any sense, So like, here's your straight out of camera. You cleaned up the blue cast that happens all the time, went a little bit lighter, nothing crazy, you know what I mean? But then again, if we zoom in here, look at that. Like this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Great separation between the white of the bird and the background, the white around it, right? There's still detail to be had there. Nothing is like 100% pure white blown overexposed, and it's so good.
I thought you were going to say great separation between the head of the bird and the body of the bird. Oh, gosh,
guess we should have done a little warning
Too graphic.
On this one.
A little graphic on that one.
Yeah.
But it was such a cool interaction. I mean, how often do you get to see that? I mean, it was, I had to take advantage of it.
Yeah, for sure, man. And then another, let's go with something a little bit cuter on the ice, huh?
Right.
Like,
just a little,
so
let's
adorable.
bring it back.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's so much fun. Like every year that we do kind of get enough ice that comes in. So it doesn't always get that locked in, but we do get a nice bit of ice that comes down. It's always fun. Like I'll take Lily out and we'll go down and kind of look for the seals and play around. So this time, this little guy was in super, super close. I was able to kind of crawl down and get.
So cute.
It's funny. I've never shared it. I know you were like, have you ever shared this image? And I'm like, no, just, I don't know why. But again, I think it's my love-hate with high key kind of stuff. But this one works because you do see more of the ice. So I kind of like that texture part. And I mean, to see the top-down view on him and him looking back
up at
to
you,
see the both eyes. Yeah, super cute.
I know.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Yeah, share it.
And so I got to tell you
let's
a
get some
story.
comments. Comment. If we can get like, let's go for 10 comments of Brad share this. I think you have to share it. What do you think? Will you go with that?
Okay, I'll do that. Yeah.
All right. If we can get 10 comments of people of saying Brad shared the seal, it's going up on Instagram.
It will go up.
Let's see if we can make it happen. So what were you going to say?
But so I can tell you, so my daughter was with me with this one. So we were just kind of like sat on this ice covered rock or whatever. And we're just, so she, of course, I mean, this was like a few years ago. She was young. She was super in love with it. I thought this was the cutest thing ever. She's talking to it and everything like that. And when we went to leave, she's like, bye, baby seal, or something like that. Dude, this thing turned. It flat like that. She just looked at me like, did that just happen? I'm like, oh my God, what's the chance?
That's amazing.
It was a cute moment.
That's
for sure.
really cool.
Yeah. They're adorable, but same thing.
Same thing. Yep. Yeah, they're adorable, but
I find it's the same. Like this one, it does work. I agree, but it's almost like it makes me think of like you and I talked about it before, like the beavers. It's like, they're in the
when they're in the water
with the head. Like
I know.
Yeah, like sometimes it's like tricky to make them look a bit interesting or something. Like, I don't know. But again,
they have to be out and adorable and laying on the ice, just like this one.
Right?
Yeah.
Just like this one.
Oh, man.
Too funny.
So, the other thing, this is when it does happen. And to me, this is when I feel like high key is the solution to make this interesting to me, right? Because I think if I show you this straight out camera, there you go, right? Like so, and if I exposed more for the sky, it's just going to be this dull gray. You know what I mean? And so there, I was with auto ISO on this one, so you can see I went plus 1.67, and this is what I'm talking about with the managing that that balance of like not completely overexposing because I know I can push it to where I want in post real easily, right? With some basic settings. I didn't do any masking on this. So you can see my settings on the right there. I basically lifted the exposure, the shadows, dropped the blacks a little bit, and then I punched the lights and the tone curve down there, if you take note on that one, right? So that's what really gave me that white background. But I didn't have to select anything. Like, right, my exposure was right there to begin with that nice balance. But what do you need when you have just flat light on a boring gray overcast sky? You need interest in perch. You need interest in shape. You need interaction, behavior, just something. There's got to be something. You need freaking what you call it, toucans, like that, like
right.
an amazing bird, right?
Yeah,
but
with the mouth
I have
open.
a bunch of these that I was really trying to work. Because it was all about the shape, right? And I was trying to get, sometimes they were looking like one would look the wrong way, the other one would look the wrong way, or they were just faced weird. And so it was waiting for them to move and give me that position. Yeah.
And
so.
you know, dude, like when I look at this, like in my head, I'm thinking, I'm like, even if this had like a sky to it, like a blue, a little bit of cloud. Like I think I love the simplicity of it because of the forms, because of the shapes, because of those things that let all that stand out even more. Like, you know, if there was anything to this sky, like an actual decently interesting sky, it's almost like a competitive thing. Yeah, like there would just be no need for you almost want it to be this clean, simple look. And, I really like it,
and
man.
I think that's the... you know, I'm so glad you brought that up because I guess we didn't mention that in the beginning. I think that to me is sort of the key to a good high key image, right? Especially if we're just talking about like an overcast lighting background sky situation, is it actually improves the photo. It does the same thing as a black background, right? It introduces absolute simplicity, absolute zero distraction in your background. And that's where I think like I like these better. Like I would take this over... honestly, over good light on a blue sky right here, because like if the only option, if I couldn't find a way to get up an eye level and find like another green background, and I was stuck on the ground shooting up at these birds, and the light was out, even if it was the most golden light, but it was just a blue sky, I don't think I would like it as much as this because of the simplicity introduced here of no color in the background, no distraction. This is like, all you can look at is the color of the bird and the shape of what's happening, right? And I think that's what it's all about, you know? And
definitely.
When you find something like this and something like you have here, right? Same thing. It's like interesting pine cones, all the big pine cones, and then like that shape, the triangle shape leading up to the crossbill on the top. It's like, yeah, it works, you know? Like it really works.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. The edit's not great, but it works.
Plus
feels
one
like it
and a
needs to
third.
be punched a bit more. Yeah.
What were you saying?
No, I said I think like the saturation or something needs to be punched. It just looks a little flat for me or something.
Gotcha.
Or, I don't know. Listen, I edited that one I think like this morning or something. There was a little bit of a late little edit on
late
those.
entry.
I had to look back through a few. So, but again, just like what you said, like there's an interest there, and that's why I shot this high key the way I did. I'm like, just all those cones. Like if that spruce tree had like half of the cones or didn't have barely any, I probably would never even have took the shot, but it was all about that, and I wanted that to stand out. And it was again that flat kind of grayish overcast kind of day. So, and
it's the connection of like this, there's an interesting connection for anybody that knows about them, like the species and the food, right? Like that's what they eat. Those cones right there, it's a crossbill, that's what they go after. So there's a nice bird and food tie-in with a shot like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then the one last thing, a scenario where I think it works really well is fog. And I think, you know, like we talked about like shapes and perches and things like that can really excel or make a high key excel. I think the other thing is just like a damn beautiful bird with good coloration on it, right? And so like give me like a redhead duck like this with just nothing else going on. The bird carries the weight, right? That's what
definitely.
So and it's it's another example of like you need something else in the photo to carry the weight of it, because flat out the light is kind of flat, not kind of. The light is as flat as it gets. Flat. And you've erased your background, right? So you need to be left with something. Like, so think about that, right? There's got to be something left in the end, whether it's like the snowy shapes or the falling snow or that feeling of cold in winter that comes with like that, all that whiteness, the zeroing in of your subject like Brad had with the seal and the eagle on the snow, small in frame. Or in this case, just the incredible colors, you know? And so if I show straight out of camera, this was a foggy day. Thankfully, it came in close enough that I knew I could just, all I needed to do was just, again, like just punch it up a little bit and give him that color and contrast, and it was there.
Definitely.
And then the other extreme of that is like really foggy scenes. And then again, you're going light, and you can see I'm plus 1 2/3 on exposure compensation to get this dialed in. And there's straight out of camera. And then there's my final edit. So I actually sort of minimized the trees even more because I wanted them to be really secondary.
Yeah, like ghostly.
Yeah, right. So you can still see them there, but I wanted you to almost have to like lean in to see them and be like, what am I seeing there? I got to dig in. Whereas here it's more obvious. That. And then I darken the bird selectively just to make him stand out just a little more to pop. But again, this is like one of those times where I think like the fog and the high key simplicity of a scene can work. But I do think you kind of want something out there, right? Like this subject doesn't hold this image on its own, right? If I just had white fog and nothing else back there, right? I don't know that does anything. Then it's just this tiny little dot of a bird. It doesn't have that much interesting shape, detail, color. It's not going to carry this photo, right? But getting the context of the trees in there, I think, helps. So,
definitely. Definitely.
So yeah, do you have anything else you want to add into the high key conversation? I think we covered most of the stuff there, right?
I think so. Yeah, definitely.
So with that, let's go ahead and switch over to our new challenge, the Wildlife Photo Chat Challenge. And so all this means, guys, is we want you to go out this week if you can, if you get a chance, and try and experiment with some high key using some of the techniques we talked about. But feel free, we totally understand not everybody can always get out and do this. Feel free to share anything from the past and go ahead and just give the Wildlife Photo Chat Challenge hashtag. You can see it listed right here on your screen. Just go ahead and tag your photo. If you want to go back and tag another photo, it's okay. If you can go out and do some of the shooting this week and take something with some of these concepts and ideas, I think that'd be really cool. Brad and I will each pick one of our favorites next week before the show, and then we'll feature it on the episode here, and we'll make sure to include a link to your social media. And so this is on Instagram, by the way. We're just going to do Instagram. That's where we are the most. And we're not going to chase hashtags all over the place. So keep it to Instagram. But we're excited to see what you guys come up with, and excited to pick out one of our favorites and share it. So that'll be it.
Yeah, it's fun little challenge.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll try and do one of these every damn week, So that's going to be the thing. We're going to keep that going. So keep coming back each week to see what the challenge is, and then get a chance to get featured on the show. All right?
Yep, definitely.
All right, guys. Cool. So as always, thank you so much for joining us. Leave us any comments, questions, topics. We did get one last week, which is really cool. So we'll add that to our list. Or maybe we'll actually do that topic next week. Keep them coming.
You can. Yeah, definitely.
We definitely love it. And hope you guys are enjoying the show.
All right. Appreciate it, everyone.